This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Euro Radio TV, and, of course, on iHeartRadio. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out about the great programming we have available for you on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, 724-365, visit www.xzbn.net. Just a bit of a programming notice for the listeners around the world on the XZBN. Cal Korff is back with us here in the X-Zone. Cal has his own show weekly that is repeated throughout the week on XZBN. It's entitled Cal's Corner, and all you have to do is go to www.xzbn.net and look in the program schedule for KK, and that'll tell you when Cal is available. Also, Jesse Kelsey is starting a show with us next week entitled The Power of Numbers. That's happening now in the X-Zone Broadcast Network. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is a lady I've had the pleasure of having on the show many times over a number of years. Her name is P.M.H. Atwater, and she is one of the original researchers in the field of near-death studies, having begun her work in 1978 and completing, listen to this, X-Zone Nation, 15 books on her findings, some of which now have been verified in clinical settings. Now, P.M.H. Atwater's The Big Book of Near-Death Experience was featured in the online version of Newsweek magazine. Near-Death Experiences, The Rest of the Story, is her most complete and controversial book yet. She has won many, many, many awards, appeared on numerous TV shows, and spoken around the world, always inviting people to look past appearances for the truth that underlies what we think we know. We're going to be talking to P.M.H. tonight about her new book, A Manual for Developing Humans. And P.M.H., welcome back to the X-Zone.
Oh, it's fun to be back with you, Rob.
You are one busy lady. When do you ever get any rest?
Well, sometimes.
Tell me about your latest book, A Manual for Developing Humans. Where did it start? What's it about?
Well, apparently you want a story.
Well, yeah.
A Manual for Developing Humans was the first book I ever wrote. I wrote it back in the early 80s. I sent it out, as I often do, to my peer group to look it over, check facts and all this kind of stuff. And I got back all the comments, and there were many. They all said the same thing. They said, the world is not ready yet for this. Put it in a box.
Wow.
So I did, a very big box. And there it laid until the death of my good friend, Robert Van de Castle.
Yes.
If you've ever heard of Bob Van de Castle, he wrote Our Dreaming Mind. He was one of the best authorities on dreams in the world, but he was a good friend. And he died about a year and a half ago. And I went to his memorial. I went early, and I was sitting out in front of the building, just in my car.
Mm-hmm.
And he manifested in the seat next to me, and he looked me in the eye, and he started laughing. He says, "I knew you'd come." So he disappeared. Then I went inside, for the memorial service, right-hand side, midway, third row, and I'm watching. On the dais, they had a whole lot of memorabilia and photographs of Bob.
Mm-hmm.
But one particular one was just sort of erect and looking at me. And during this service, he came out of his photo, and he came right in front of my face. And he said with all seriousness, "It is time." And I knew what he meant. Bob knew about the book in the box. And so as soon as the service was over, I went home as fast as I could, and I opened that box. Now, if you've never opened anything that hasn't been sealed, it's been sealed for several decades, 3 decades, actually more than that, almost 4 decades. You'll know what came next. The odor, you almost have to fumigate the place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Smelled awful. Then I go, rummaging through the material, including the thought form drawings, and I thought to myself, well, this isn't half bad. I think I'll commit to finishing this manual after all these years.
All right, we've got to have a bit of a cliffhanger here because we have to go to break. Exonation, my guest, the one and only P.M.H. Atwater this hour. We're going to be talking to P.M.H. about her new book, A Manual for Developing Humans. Her website, www.pmhatwater.com. We'll be back. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. P.M.H. Atwater is my special guest, X-Zone Nation, www.pmhatwater.com. Now, P.M.H., I've got to say something to you. You are the only lady that I know where a spirit would materialize in a car next to you and not freak out. And then to have...
They do all the every once in a while, ever since I died. I'm a near-death experiencer. I died 3 times in 3 months in 1977. Wow. So ever since then, every once in a while, a disincarnate will buzz by or be in my house. I've always told everybody that one of these days I'm going to put a sign on our front door that will read, "Welcome, whether you wear a body or not." That's simply my world.
Oh my gosh.
When I agreed to finish the manual, that's when that voice like none other returned. In my third near-death experience, that's where I first met and the voice first spoke to me. I call it the voice like none other. My sense is it's of God, but it's so huge and it's so big. It's not like a disincarnate or an alien or an angel or none of that. It's so huge and so big, and it spoke to me, and it said that I should do the research.
Mm-hmm.
When I died, I was on my way to being a bank manager. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about anything like this.
Right.
So, I made my commitment that
Mm-hmm.
I would do the research. Then 3 books. I was told that I must write 3 specific books. Book 1 was never named. So I have no idea what that book was. It might have been Coming Back to Life, my first major book. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one was Future Memory.
Right.
And every sentence, every paragraph, every page is part of the math I use to create the labyrinth. Future Memory is not a book, it's a labyrinth. And you read through it like you walk through a sight labyrinth. And the purpose of that is to raise your consciousness up to the next highest octave possible for you. Now, it's that voice that showed me how to do that. Then that voice came back when I finally agreed to finish the manual, and it helped me then to do the manual. Now, let me just very speedily, because I know you don't have much time, explain a little bit about the manual.
Please.
A manual for developing humans. It is not a typical linear read. It is a 5th dimensional format. Let me explain that. It's divided into 6 parts,
Mm-hmm.
each part into 3 sections. Each highlights or talks about or shows you the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious aspect of what the subject at hand. So you're getting whole packages within whole packages. You're getting the intellect, the intuition, and the knowing all at once. It's not separated. It's all at once. So you're getting it all. The purpose of a manual for developing humans is to, literally, it's an invitation for you to think for yourself, to take control of your life, both its unfoldment and the responsibility that comes with that unfoldment, and align yourself with the directive of your soul. When we talk about being more spiritual or being more positive,
Mm-hmm.
more spiritual, that's backward thinking. It's like, wake up, everybody. If you're all that you can be, if you are fully yourself, the full human being that you were meant and born to be, you're going to be automatically spiritual and everything else. It's a holistic view of yourself and all that you can be. In ancient times, the word hue, H-U, was the sound and tone of God.
Right.
So human was considered God man, God woman. So if you are all of yourself, if you are all that you can be,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? You're a God in the making.
Well,
It's literal, it's automatic.
well, PMH, isn't that what I believe, that the exact same thing was written in the Bible, but people just never clued on, where God said, and let us create man in our image, in our likeness. Therefore, if we are created in his likeness and his image, we therefore are gods.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what the manual is all about. It's written in simple, easy language. Lots of exercises. They're all simple. Some narratives, some stories, some facts, some science, but it's all easy. Let me give you some for instances
Sure.
here, because who takes classes in how to be a human being?
No one I know.
Right. How you hold your fingers controls and directs your breath in such a way that you have more energy, you're more honest, you're more peaceful, you're healthier, you're able to do more. And that's all it is just holding a couple of fingers in a certain way. I had a man from New York get a hold of me. He likes to take long walks in New York City, and he says he's using his fingers in that manner now, and he says, I can walk more.
Wow.
I love it. He says, I'm happier, I'm healthier. He just couldn't get over what a difference it makes.
There was a TV commercial, P.M.H, years ago that said, let your fingers do the walking.
Yeah, I mean, it's literal. We seem to think that these are little stories over here and there, or somebody came up with a new idea, and we're not realizing this is our world. This is part of being a human being on the earth plane. Again, how many people realize that everything you have at eye level in every room of your home or apartment is literally what you're praying for? That's what will manifest in your life. We don't look at that. How many people realize that six weeks before your birthday every year, you are the weakest you will be that year? 6 weeks after your birthday, you are the strongest you will be that year.
Why is that?
6 months past your birthday, that's when you get your big challenges and a lot of, extra things that you have to do. And that has nothing to do with astrology. It has nothing to do with psychism. It has nothing to do with any kind of special narrative. It has everything to do with the human body living in the earth plane with the energy here. And that's what the manual does. It takes you to all that simple stuff that we forgot or never knew, or maybe learned a long time ago and forgot. It takes you back to all that simple stuff. It's like exercising your body. How many people remember to exercise your face? So in the manual is the directions for acupressure facelifts. And hey, look at that, do that, and realize, look at my photo if you ever can, and realize, hey, I'm 80 years old.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, you betcha. I've been
Nice.
using stuff, do this stuff. I heard from when it was just out, 2.5 weeks, I had a therapist get a hold of me and say he is now using the techniques in the manual in his practice.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, can you believe that?
I'm looking at your photo right now, and I can't believe you're 80 years old.
Yeah, I sure am.
My gosh.
Hey, you just wait till I'm 90. Hey, whoa.
I'm sure you're going to go way past 90 because you've got a good heart. You've been helping people ever since I've known you. And I love your energy. And you know what? Your laugh is contagious.
Oh, gee. Well, we can all laugh together.
Hey, isn't laughing one way of exercising your face muscles?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And all these very simple things. The manual is full of tips on learning how to think, learning how to speak, learning how to exercise. It's about sex. It's about relationships. It's about children. It's about economics and money and how to bend time, astral travel. I mean, all of it is in there because all of it is part of being a human being on the earth plane. We get off on these trips of psychic this and psychic that, and I say nonsense. The word psychic comes from the word soul. So we're talking about soul abilities. Some of us have more than others, but soul abilities, they're part of our arsenal of survival gifts that we were given at birth. I mean, it has nothing to do with being extra or paranormal supernormal or anything like that. It has everything to do with being a human being.
Let me ask you this then, PMH. How come we don't get the manual when we're born?
Well, who can read when they're born?
Well, because so many people believe that this isn't our first go around on this planet, that we've been here before, and they believe in reincarnation. They believe in a number of different possibilities that would make common sense to me, that if we have been here before, that we should have had the manual by now.
Well, a lot of children do when they're born, and up to about the age of 5,
right,
6, when they start to school.
Oh yeah.
It's gone. It's either shamed out of them, or they're made fun of, or they don't really know how to use it. So, I'm a near-death researcher, and I've researched. I have the largest research base in the world, nearly 4,000 adults and children, and I'm a very thorough in my work. I use police investigative techniques, which means I get right to the nitty-gritty. I don't use the scientific protocol because it's highly biased and it doesn't dig deep enough. So I go after the deeper stuff. And what I'm finding with children, even in the womb, they know what they're coming in for. A lot of them know what's ahead of them. And when they're born, then there's that frustration of having a body that just doesn't work like you'd like it to work, but absolutely knowing who's your dad, who's your mom, who's in the family. In the book, the big book of near-death experiences, and it's actually an easy read, even though it's a big book.
It's a great book, I might add.
Yeah, I wrote it for busy people on the go. There's a heading in there. There's a section in there called Womb with a View.
Yeah.
And there's, I give cases there of these kids who come in with this kind of knowing and this kind of knowledge that just blows your mind, really. And now that my work is done, that is to say that the writing of the...
Hey.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Don't forget, on September the 11th, we have our live special, in which we are going to be exposing the Billy Meyer story. We're also going to be speaking to a journalist who actually went undercover in the Billy Meyer camp in Switzerland, and he's going to be sharing with us never before seen photographs and never before heard audio tracks of the interviews, and what you will hear and what you are going to see. It's just going to blow your mind. We're going to be doing it live, radio and television. And don't forget, that is going to be September the 11th, 2017. People say, Rob, why on September the 11th? It's very simple. September the 11th, the towers came down. This September 11th, Billy Meyer is coming down. PMH Atwater is my special guest, a good friend of the X-Zone, and one of the hardest working ladies in the near-death experience field that I have had the pleasure of knowing. If you'd like to find out more about PMH, if you'd like to find out about her books, visit her website and be prepared to spend a while there at www.pmhatwater.com. PMH.com. PMH, are there more of the indigo children coming into the world these days?
I sort of sidestep the label indigo.
Okay. How do you...
We've got labels indigo, crystal, starseed, they go on and on and
Yeah.
on. What these labels do is they put children in boxes,
Oh, okay.
exclusive boxes of specialness. And that screws up families, it screws up the kids, it screws up the school teachers. We're having a lot of problems with these labels. So what I do instead is I call them the new kids.
The new kids,
And
okay.
that sort of covers everybody. And I wrote a book about them. I'm also a researcher of evolution, human evolution.
Mhm.
And the book is called Children of the Fifth World. So I go in depth about the whole business of the evolution of humankind, how we are changing, how we're growing, about our new kids. Specifically, I have some of this also in the manual. So if people want to get more in depth about what's really going on here
Mhm.
beyond the labels, then I certainly suggest, Children of the Fifth World. And again, it's in the manual, and the manual in the sixth section, the back section, also covers a little bit about this business of extraterrestrials. And it's going to surprise you what's in there.
So let me ask you the question rephrased. Are there more new children being born in the world today?
Oh, from now on. There's no stopping them.
All right.
Now on.
If we, yeah, I'm sure we have people listening to us around the world tonight who are saying to themselves, what are these new children? Can you just give us a basic explanation of how you describe new children?
Gee. 1/3 of them
Mm-hmm.
in those countries that use standard IQ tests. 1/3 of them are scoring between 150 to 160. That's a few of them have genetic markers. The vast majority do not. There's no exclamation. Well, anyway, there's no way we can understand really why.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have come up with a Flynn effect. That doesn't work. It's all based on a bunch of kids in a room together. This is happening to single kids all over the world as well, who are not in a room with other kids. So 1/3 of them are coming in between 150 to 160. In my research base of child experiencers, that's going from birth. My original one was from birth to the age of 15.
Mm-hmm.
1/3 of those, not 1/3, 48%, so much higher, 48% were scoring, but afterward, between 150 to 160 on standard IQ tests. If you look just at the little ones, those that, 1 to 6, almost all of them are scoring that high. 1 to the age of 17 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, all of them are scoring genius up to the 200s and above. So the increase in the brain thinking ability is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're also very creative. They're very innovative. They're very artistic. Most of them remember past lives. Most, very highly psychic. All of this kind of thing. Very inventive, very clever kids. But I find very interesting too. 1/3 are coming in, okay, 150 to 160 geniuses. 1/3 are coming in highly inventive. Whether they have those big scores on the IQ test or
Mm-hmm.
not, They're still highly inventive, artistic, and very creative, very psychic. But 1/3 are coming in amoral or too violent to handle.
Whoa.
So we're getting that full spectrum. And if you get in the book, you'll read about what I discovered with thirds. That's also in the manual, because I think this is very, very important. What's happening with the human race now today, and has been for almost 2 decades, not quite, can be understood in thirds. And it's just it's remarkable. It's striking. It's scary. It's wonderful. When I look at that, the idea of thirds, thirds is when we're talking about thirds, we're talking about divine order. We're talking about that which fits and moves together and really enhances the human environment. So if we're recognizing that this is a pattern of divine order, then that tantalizes me to begin to think in terms of maybe this is part of a higher plan, that we need all of it to raise the human race up to higher levels of consciousness. We need it all. So, you look at that in different ways. You can't just jump to conclusions here. There's a lot going on in the evolution of the world we're living in, and in the evolution of the human family.
But why now, PMH?
Well, hey, look at the book. Remember, Bob Vandecastle said, "It is time." Remember when the journal was first written? And, I sent it out and people said, put it in a box. The world isn't ready.
No, sweetie. I wasn't talking about why now for the book.
But it all fits together.
Okay.
It all fits together. Why now? Why the timing of the changes in the human race? Of the manual coming out. And by the way, this is the most important book I ever wrote. Why now? We're looking at the changes that are happening in the earth plane now. We're talking, certainly we're getting a taste of this with the eclipses, yes. In the United States, we're moving into our Pluto return. If you know anything at all about astrology, you'll know that the orbit of Pluto is about, 244, 245 years. So people don't have it, but countries can. And the United States of America is having its Pluto return in 2022. Plutonian, we're talking about power here. We're talking about extremes of power. So I'm telling everybody, look for 2020 through 2024. So this particular time, and it's going to affect the entire world as well. But right now, I'm just talking about the United States. This is a time of extreme power, extreme activities, the best of the best, the worst of the worst, and no middle. Absolutely no middle. So again, the best of the best, the worst of the worst. And we're talking about Trump. There was no way Hillary could have won that election. It's not possible. I don't like Trump, but Trump had the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So he came in, he was voted in. As far as I'm concerned, Trump is the one to prepare the United States for what's coming. Whether or not he'll have a second term, I don't know. But he was the one to prepare us, get us, sort of straightened out, if you will. The eclipse that's coming.
Now, the eclipse, I believe it's on what? August 21st?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That eclipse is right on his ascendant, right on his Mars. I just sent out a special edition today for my free monthly newsletter. So if you're not a subscriber to my free monthly newsletter, just get on my website and, sign up. Now you're going to have to look in the archives, but it's just on the eclipses and things like that. And what happened in Charlottesville this weekend when we were taken over by Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists and all this other kind of garbage. And take a look at the power of this eclipse going right across the United States. And we're going to get another one that goes across a good share of the United States in 2024. So we get a lot in 2017, a lot more in 2024. A solar eclipse tends to exacerbate or stimulate or cause massive changes in countries, what's going on in the countries. If you look at the history of eclipses, not just astrology, but just the history of eclipses, within 3 months of an eclipse, we can have major changes. This time, I would look for major changes in Trump's health and his energy. This man has a lot of problems with his legs. I don't know if you've noticed that. He doesn't do a lot of walking. He doesn't like stairs. He has a lot of problems on inclines.
All right, stand by, PMH. We've got to take our final break. Exonation, PMH Atwater is our special guest, www.pmhatwater.com. The name of her new book, A Manual for Developing Humans. And once again, www.pmhatwater.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Exonation, PMH Atwater is our special guest this hour. Her website is www.pmhatwater.com. Her new book, A Manual for Developing Humans. And once again, www.pmhatwater.com. PMH, are you getting more reports of near-death experiences these days?
Oh, yeah. Indeed, I am. There's I don't know how to put this into words except maybe another little story.
Okay, please.
When I died those 3 times, and especially the third one, when that voice like none other told me to be a researcher, and told me to write those 3 specific books, of which A Manual for Developing Humans is the third one. When that book was done, that is to say, it was printed and it was in book form that you could hold in your hand. So we're talking the 1st of April this year. All of that incredible energy that I was given in death, to do the work, to do this mission, this sort of gung-ho, I'm taking the world in your hands kind of energy, blasting energy. It all left. It left in 10 minutes.
Wow.
I could see it leave, I could hear it leave, and I could feel it leave. And when it left, my ability to sing went with it. I can no longer sing. My energy now is softer. It's slower. It's a different energy. My voice is different. I'm different. If you're able to get the special edition of my newsletter that just went out today, there's a photograph of me giving a talk at the International Association for Near-Death Studies just last week in Colorado. And when I was announcing the change, that's when this huge shaft of light, I mean, it's a big one, it's not a little one, engulfed me, and a person in the audience photographed it. And so it's there. And, and I stood up in front of everybody, and I'm saying it to you and everybody else. I'm naked now. My job is over. All of the work I have done is concluded, and I got out that manual. That was the most important job, was getting that manual out, because that manual is for everybody, not just near-death experiencers. And I came to realize that for the first time since I died, I can now make a choice. I never had a choice. People say you're always a choice. You can always make a choice. No, I could not. I had to do this work. So you're not going to believe this, but I chose to write 4 more books.
No, I can totally believe that. No, I've known you long enough to totally believe that you've made a decision to write 4 more books.
And the first one that I'm now involved in, I'm going back in near-death research one more time. And I'm going back to the little ones, the tiny ones. Those people who feel they had a near-death experience between womb and the age of 5. Because I've noticed something with that group. Those experiencers are not like any other child experiencer, teenager, adult. They're very different, totally different. So I'm going back. I think I know why, but I want more data. So I'm going back and I'm taking a good look. Then when that's over, I'm going to write my own science book. I think it's time, and I'm going to write my own science book. Not just about science and near-death experiences, but about the threshold experience and what that really is.
What is the threshold experience? P.M.H., are you there?
Tell you, Robin, I'm going to tell you, all your listening audience, I'm just going to blow them up here. Well, not really, but sort of
metaphorically.
Yeah, metaphorically burst out with this thing. I'm going to write my own UFO book in the sense of telling what I've found in near-death research. And I'm the only one who has explored that. And then my last book will be vignettes of my life. And I want to spend more time with my husband, Terry. Yeah. You know, a lot of near-death experiencers talk about their angels.
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody I married mine.
Oh, what a beautiful thing to say.
If you get on my website, there's a picture of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get into my website. My husband is an African American. He's black.
Mm-hmm.
I'm white. Actually, I'm freckled and he's brown. But you know, if you want to be technical, we met at a Zen meditation meeting in Roanoke, Virginia, 37 years ago.
My gosh.
We knew each other for 6 weeks and we got married. And it's been 37 years. It just gets better every year.
Love at first sight?
I don't know if it was love at first sight or if it was a joining at first sight. We're absolutely opposite in everything. People who saw our charts, our astrological charts, that don't ever get married because we have too much that's opposite. Well, for us, that was perfect.
Well, isn't the universal science that opposites attract?
Well, they attract, but in our case, they nurture. I'm not the kind of person, nor is my husband Terry, to marry someone that's compatible. I want someone who's rich with ideas and thoughts. And
you like a challenge. You like a challenge.
Yeah. I want someone who's exciting and fun, you know, and that's what I got.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, he teaches A Course in Miracles, and he's just a second degree in karate, black belt. Really kind of a man's man, but yet very, very spiritual. And he's a vampire, actually. That is to say, he works for Virginia Blood Services, which means he's after your blood. His idea of a successful day is blood in the bag. So our grandchildren bought him a vampire doll, and we keep it in our living room. You know, there's a bookcase at the bottom shelf, and we put the vampire doll in the back so it will always be in the dark. So we call my husband our friendly neighborhood vampire. He's after your blood for Virginia Blood Services.
Isn't that a wonderful story?
Kind of life, you know, it's fun. And I'm just telling everybody, please go to Amazon.com, put on comments on the manual, put their manual on your Facebook, your Twitter, your social media accounts. Get it out there because the world needs this. It is time. It is time for all of us to be who we fully are. You know, the greatest commandment of all, really, is to know yourself, love yourself. You know, be thyself, know thyself. And that's what the manual is. That's what it does.
Because let's face it, if you can't love yourself, no one else can either.
Yeah. It all begins there.
That's right. You know, I used to have a favorite saying. In fact, I used to have T-shirts that said, "Life is simple, we complicate it."
Oh, that's so perfect. That is just so perfect.
I've got about 2 minutes left with you, PMH. What, in your opinion, has been the most significant discovery when it comes to near-death experiences in the last 5 years?
If you look at the 4 words that most near-death experiencers say after their experience, and those 4 words are always, there is life. Look at that. That means there's no before life. That means there's no now life. That means there is no afterlife. It means we have always existed, we exist now, and we always will exist because eternity is our home.
Strong words from a strong lady, P.M.H. Atwater. All I can say is thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's always a great pleasure speaking with you, P.M.H. Please give my very best to Sarah and thank her so much for helping make this interview possible. And until the next time we meet, my young friend, you don't look 80. You don't look 80. Thank you.
See you later, Rob.
Take care of yourself, PMH. Exonation, if you'd like to get a copy of any of PMH's wonderful books, www.pmhatwater.com, or go to amazon.com and type in her name, P.M.H. Atwater. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. You can always send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV, and for the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. I'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away.